Toto Wolff is stirring the pot yet again, making the bold claim that Red Bull was annihilated by McLaren in their last race. And somewhere out there, Jos Verstappen is smiling and nodding in agreement, after Helmut Marko revealed that Max's father would choose the Mercedes team boss over Christian Horner any day. Don't go anywhere, you wouldn't want to miss this. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff just warned Red Bull that McLaren annihilating the entire grid at the Formula One Dutch Grand Prix has made the championship wide open. He told the media, McLaren has proven in the past, since Austria last year, that they brought upgrades to the car that landed spot on, and that was just very impressive to see today. He's basically annihilated all of the competition, with the fastest lap at the end on a 42-lap old hard, 20 seconds in gap. I think this championship, the Constructors' Championship, is wide open in my opinion, and it's good for Formula One. While Red Bull may no longer be the favourites to retain the Constructors' Championship, Verstappen, who finished second in his home race, still holds a 70-point lead. Wolff, who has openly expressed his desire to lure Verstappen to Mercedes, believes that closing such a large gap with 9 rounds remaining will be nearly impossible. But the Austrian suspects that Mercedes' renewed competitiveness, which saw them win 3 out of 4 races before the break, could bolster Norris's chances. He added, "The Drivers' Championship, I think Max to a certain degree has it under control still, but it will be exciting to see whether there is a change of powers. And how much can we participate in that, because we were able in the last few races, and I think if we would have had a car that was about normal where we would have ended up, I don't think we would have beaten Norris, but we would have been in a little bit more exciting position." Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko has claimed that Jos Verstappen, Max's father, is a bigger fan of Toto Wolff than of Christian Horner. Horner, who has been Red Bull's team principal since the mid-2000s, faced public criticism from Jos Verstappen earlier this year. This led to speculation that Max Verstappen might consider leaving the team due to the internal power struggle that surfaced early in the season. Toto Wolff has been vocal about his efforts to secure Verstappen's signature, but has admitted that he won't be able to land the Dutchman for 2025. Marko shared this on the Inside Line podcast. He wouldn't be a good team principal if he wouldn't try to get Max. I think every top team would like to have Max. The other story of a meeting between Wolff and Verstappen's camp, all the people live in Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo, when it's not the Grand Prix, it's quite a quiet place. There are not so many coffee shops. So it's just natural that you run into each other, and of course Toto makes a story out of it. On the other hand, Jos is a bigger fan of Toto than he is of Christian. For now, Max Verstappen's biggest gripe lies with the FIA, who has been making subtle attacks against him through President Mohammed Ben Sulayem. Max suggested that the easiest way to get rid of Ben Sulayem's problem, that being online abuse towards FIA officials, is to stop the broadcast of team radio. The FIA president recently shared that the International Sporting Code has been updated with the approval of the World Motorsport Council to address online abuse by redefining what constitutes misconduct in the rules. Ben Sulayem pointed out a direct link between drivers and team members making negative comments about the FIA and the increase in online abuse during race weekends, prompting the need for this action. Earlier this month, he said, "As part of our ongoing fight against online abuse, recent investigations have shown that there is a direct link between negative comments from drivers and team members and increased hate directed towards officials on social media. Our stewards must be prepared to show strength when combating this form of abuse, and they have my full support and the support of the International Sporting Code when making their decisions. I urge them to show that the FIA will not allow abuse of any kind within our sport. But since these negative comments often happen in the heat of the moment during races, Verstappen believes that stopping the broadcast of team radio could address the problem at its source." He also noted that FIA officials aren't the only ones facing online abuse. Drivers and team personnel are frequently targeted on social media as well. Verstappen shared his thoughts in response to Ben Sulayem's comments, according to the Dutch publication De Telegraaf. "But first of all, I would then say, then they shouldn't broadcast those onboard radios. Then you have already solved a big part of the problem. Then people can't hear it and simply not know what is being said there. In every sport there will be something bad said at a certain decision, only there they don't have a microphone under their nose. Now people hear everything and can go back to talking about it on social media. That's where it starts. Surely this is not just about officials, but is generally something that goes on in the sport. That's why I think it shouldn't just be about the stewards and the FIA either. When I read something like this, I think, fine, I get it, but it is a problem that many more people have to deal with." And steering the conversation away from the FIA, Max Verstappen admitted that his performance is being hurt by a hidden problem with Red Bull's car. It seems that the RB20s are dealing with a balance issue, which was a major factor in Verstappen finishing 22.9 seconds behind Dutch Grand Prix winner Lando Norris. Norris was over 0.3 of a second faster than Verstappen in qualifying and easily overtook him during the race after initially falling behind at the start. McLaren brought upgrades to Zandvoort that boosted the MCL38's performance, while Verstappen's car struggled, especially with its responsiveness to steering input at turn 10. When asked if Red Bull was dealing with a specific issue, Verstappen mentioned that there's something yet to be identified that is making the car difficult to handle. He shared this insight with select media. There's just not a connected balance, front or rear. It wasn't there in the first few races. But yeah, something in the car has made it more difficult to drive, and it's very hard to pinpoint where that is coming from at the moment. That is then hurting, of course, our one-lap performance, but also our long run. Verstappen has now gone winless since the Spanish Grand Prix in July, marking his longest 5-race drought since 2020. This is also the longest stretch Red Bull has gone without a victory since the current regulations were introduced in 2022, and it's the first time the Milton Keynes-based team hasn't had the fastest car. Verstappen acknowledges that Red Bull no longer has the quickest package and accepts that winless periods are part of the sport. He added, "Yeah, I mean, that happens, right? I've had a lot of good years. I mean, some people have never won a race in their career, so you can also look at it like that. From my side, we at the moment don't have the fastest car. We have some issues that we have to solve, and we are working on that. That's the only thing I can say about that." Dutch racing driver Jeroen Bleekemolen has voiced out his concern about Red Bull, interpreting Jos Verstappen's post-Zandvoort complaints as a sign that things are no longer rock solid. The former F1 driver told Bild that Red Bull's issues are not surprising when you regress the car. He told Nossi, "You can't sugarcoat it anymore, the situation is serious. Max won't be happy with having a car like this. Now it's up to Horner to get the team back on track. It's rumbling there, and there's a lot going on." At the beginning of the year, a lot of things were going on behind the scenes. Not everyone is on the same page. You can also see that from statements made by Jos Verstappen, who simply says so openly in the media, it is no longer rock solid. But fellow NOS pundit Jan Lammers believes Red Bull's current struggles are mainly due to their car, and more specifically the penalty they received for breaching the budget cap in 2021. With less development time compared to McLaren and other rivals, Lammers says the effects are now becoming evident on the track. This does make you think. It's suddenly very difficult to talk about the Max factor and the magic when you're suddenly in such a situation. He has absolutely not forgotten how to drive. What happened there? The penalty they got for exceeding the budget ceiling was perhaps the precursor to the graph going in the wrong direction. That's why they missed wind tunnel time. The other teams keep coming up with upgrades, so you wonder, did Red Bull miss an upgrade because of less wind tunnel time or all those people leaving? Maybe there was a gap there, and they are now always coming back late. Other teams have taken 2 steps, where they have taken 1. Red Bull undoubtedly have more problems than meets the eye. Here's my parting question to you. Is Jos Verstappen's outspoken attitude doing real harm to Red Bull? Tell us what you think in the comments section down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.